What is up? Thought I'd pop on here and give everybody an update real quick. I was really waiting on the models to update before I came back on. And to be honest with you, I didn't think they would update this quick. Or I probably wouldn't have waited to come on first. But also want to give a shout out here real quick before we get moving on to some good friends of mine. And to a lot of you guys probably already know them, but I want to give them a shout out because I had kind of glimpsed over this CME, but then they sent me a text, and I just, I was actually laying down taking a nap when I received the text, and they're the ones that kind of kicked me off to this, and I went and I looked, and I think they were actually the first ones out there with a video, and that would be Mike and Cindy over here at Evolutionary Energy Arts. This right here will show you how quick they were to catch it. Because it was right there and they were then, right there. I mean, that tells you right there that they definitely are paying attention to what's going on. And this is what they do, They have a whole lot of different content, guys. So I would go over here and check them out. They've been good friends of mine for a long time. And they have two channels. Evolutionary Energy Arts and EE Arts. One of them is a backup, but they're using some of them for live streaming, some of them for they use both channels, okay, just so you know. But I would suggest you guys get over here and check them out, because just like anything else in this community, we got to support each other. And these guys supported me just like I've supported them throughout a good period of time now. They're just good friends of mine. They're good people. And I think that you guys would benefit from going over here and checking them out, because they do put out some good content, Schumann resonance stuff, and a whole lot of other things, okay? Lots of recent news. I mean, as soon as it drops, they're usually out here, showing it to people and giving their opinion on it. So if you would, just go over and check them out. And I got to say thanks. It's Mike and Cindy, because they're the ones that really tipped me off right at the beginning of this CME. Now, I did wait quite a long time before I came out with my video, because I was really waiting on stuff to update, models and things. And let me tell you guys, I really didn't expect it to update this quick, and it is. And let me tell you why. Reason why they're updating this fairly quickly is the fact that this is a significant event. Okay, they know it. They know this is significant. They know this is probably the biggest event we've seen in quite a while. Like my previous video said, guys, we haven't seen an Earth-directed CME like this, of this strength, in a while. Okay? We dipped into solar minimum, back in 2019, and even into 2018. Okay, 2018 into 2019. We have not seen a CME this strong come at us since then. Since before then. So this is something that a lot of you guys that are new to this community have never seen. And I say that just to let you guys know that how rare this is right now. Now, also, I want to point out, I am in no way saying, and I don't think anybody that has any kind of responsibility about themselves at all will come out here and try to say that this is the end of the world, or that this is going to blow our power out everywhere for good, or any of that. Because the fact of the matter is, none of us could ever know that, even looking at the data. Alright? So just know that that's the case. I don't want anybody getting that twisted, because the fact of the matter is, guys, there's no reason to fear any of this, because we can't control it. We can't. We can be aware of it. And what's good about what we're seeing right here is the fact that, like I've said, I've preached this since the beginning of my channel, that we've got days before this gets here. Now, we don't have as many days as what we typically do, because this one's moving pretty fast, guys. And I'm going to show it to you here in just a second. I will be leaving the chat up so you guys can, ask questions, or just so I can communicate with you guys. This will be a little bit more laid back. I will be heading over to Mark's channel after this. I really encourage all you guys to stick around for that. I want to try to keep this one as quick as I can. But I do want you guys to get an update. Okay? I told you guys I would update you. No matter how many times I got to come back on here, I will. Short, probably for the most part, but yeah. Lola, yes, the 9th. The 9th into the 10th, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. But I want to show you the Schumann here first, guys. Hey, Ron, what's up? What is happening, buddy? Hey, good stream earlier, man. Very good information. Yeah, guys, you guys need to go check out. Hey, Ron, you can drop your link in there if you want, man. Actually, let me do this first, so you can do that. Hopefully, I hit the right button there. Okay, there you go. You got a wrench now, bud. You can go ahead and drop your link in there, man. Guys, go check him out. Great earthquake information, seismic activity, reports on what I'm reporting on here. Our research and what we do here, we kind of overlap a lot. Some of the information we share, and he's a great guy. He's very genuine, and he will most certainly, he's there for the right reasons. He's not out there just trying to grab freaking money from people. He gets very upset with other channels, just like I do. You guys have heard me come out here and say the same thing about people fear-mongering. You guys know how much I hate that. And I was watching his show yesterday, and my gosh, he was like just hitting all kinds of bells. So that's just, yeah. And that's just responsible. That comes about the responsibility I was talking about at the beginning of this stream. It is. It's responsible. We cannot come out here and scare the crap out of people. Because the second that we need to be scaring people, nobody's going to believe us if we're out here scaring people every day. You see what I'm saying? It's Emergency Management Agency. Right here. Associates, I'm sorry. Tyler, it's Ron Tyler. I can, if he might not have stuck around, he might have just popped in to say hey, and that's cool. No, it's cool. Let me, I'll get his link here. But it's such a great channel, guys. I don't point you guys to channels I won't go to. Just know that. Okay? If I don't think it's a channel that I will ever send people to, that's just something I won't do it. I will not do it. I can't do that. I don't care what the situation is. I will not send you guys to the channel I won't go to. There's a lot of people out there that will, just because whatever reasons. But here's the link to his last live stream. I seen Ron in there. Good to see you back, man. I didn't know if you left or not, but there's his link. Guys, please go check out his live stream. He had a guest on, too, that was very intelligent. Who was that, Ron? I can't remember his name. I get so many names, guys, that sometimes it's hard for me to kind of keep up with it. But, okay, cool. And I think I know who it is, but I don't want to misspeak. So it was Terry? Okay, yeah. He's good, too, guys. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, guys. We're sharing information amongst ourselves, and sometimes we don't even realize it. And it's amazing when that all comes together, because what happens is, guys, if you watch my live stream, I got off stream, went over to Ron's and was watching his, and I guarantee you that a lot of the stuff that he was saying was overlapping with what I was saying. And that's exactly where you're going to find the truth, is where those two things overlap. And plus everything he had to add. I mean, yeah. And I'm watching him, and I got to thank Ricky and Isaiah Granny for really pushing me over that direction, because I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot already about the seismographs that he talks about and shows how to read. And it shows you what you're actually looking at, what you can expect, seismic activity all over the planet. And I think Dutch does a good job too. I'm not saying that, nobody else does a good job. I'm just saying I go over there because it is definitely somewhere where it's being taken the time to show people what we're actually looking at. And that's great for me. Hey, Terry, what's up, man? He's great, guys. I mean, Terry and Ron both. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. But let me get into this then. So we got this, guys. And again, the Schumann resonance is a good way. It's a good tool to kind of confirm what we're seeing, but we have to understand that this is a regional tool. A lot of people, and I did it first too, it's a misconception that this is global. This is not a global instrument, okay? Stuff as simple as thunderstorms in the area of these tools will cause certain signatures to show up. And obviously, if there's a thunderstorm in Russia, which is where this site's at, I'm not going to know what's happening over here in the United States. You see what I'm getting at? So, but that doesn't mean it didn't change the frequency over there, because it most certainly did. Now, I want to say this. Usually if it's like thunderstorms, it'll be a very short-lived spike. Okay? What we've seen here is 1, 2, 3, probably 4 to 5 hours of an increased frequency. Now, for something like that to happen, typically that's a little bit more than regional. Not always, but typically. Okay? And something else that was odd, you guys see this horizontal signature? Way up here? At about 33, 34 hertz? That isn't normal either. So something was happening here, and it still is, actually. Now, I'm not going to say it's global, but it could be. Oh, is there a new line down? Okay, that could be it too. See, guys, there's a lot of technical stuff that can be happening with this stuff. And we have to understand that. Not everything we see is a conspiracy. And I know I've been saying that a lot lately, and there's a reason, though. Because we're seeing a lot of people jump out here and just start making grand claims, and they have nothing to back or substantiate what they're saying. They're just trying to get those clicks and views. And it's not just on one channel. I mean, it's a rampant disease that's on this platform. And it's up to us, like me and Ron and Terry and everybody else that's out here trying to just do the right thing. We're the only defense against that. Because I guarantee you the main platform we're on here, BoobTube, is not going to try to fix that at all. So it's up to people like us. And the way that we do that is to continually show you the truth at a real level. We don't uptick it and we don't downtick it. We are just simply right there where it's at, and that's what we say. You know, and for me, you guys see me that I really try to be on the bottom end of that, because I don't want to be the person that's out here, you know, sky's falling, and then nothing happened. I used to do that at the beginning of my channel. Scott Sion taught me a lot of patience. There's no need for me to be out here saying that the sky's falling when we got 2 to 3 days before the CME even gets here. There's just no need for me to do that. So I have at least a day or two to really wait for stuff to come in, wait for and look at stuff. And that's what I did to begin with, right? After Mike and Sydney pointed this thing out to me. But after I got there, and I showed it to you. So that's why we do what we do. And that's why sometimes you'll see that the people that are really trying to get you guys what's real, 99% of the time, they're not the first ones out there throwing this stuff up here. Because we want to wait. We want to see all the data we can before we come to you. Simple as that. Now, there are times that we do get out here first, but that's because we're confident in what we're showing you. And most of the time when we get out here first, at least for me, I will say that it's an opinion until I can prove it to be what I'm saying. So just know that. So anyway, this was the initial flare. It almost got into M class. Now I have to say, guys, this is the third very, very strong flare that we've had in less than a month. And we're just into the new sun cycle. We're supposed to not be having this kind of activity right now anyway. And it's happening. We should start seeing this stuff uptick, but it is upticking in a grand fashion. And upticking it in what we see from the sun, when I was speaking about that, I was simply speaking about the frequency of the solar flares or CMEs. The number of them, not the power of them, it's really strange to see this kind of power coming off of that right now, this early. You know, and I'm not going to say it's never happened, because it absolutely has. But this is one of those things that is rare. It's not a normal thing every sun cycle to see this power this early on multiple times. And I'm telling you, yeah, I got a Band-Aid on that, George. Thanks for asking, bud. And let me tell you guys, that second one we seen that fired off to the, you know, about 90 degrees from us over towards Stereo A, that second big flare last week, I have to say, I think that was bigger than an M. I really do. That didn't hit our main detectors. We caught an M-class flare from the side of the sun. Let that sink in a minute. It wasn't facing us. It was just so powerful and bright that it actually was able to crest that limb and come our direction. That's why we got the x-rays from it. If that thing had been right in front of us, I'm telling you right now, it would have came in at higher than an M. It was a big one. Just saying. And that's my opinion. Obviously, I cannot approve any of that. I can't prove any of that. But I can show you my observations, and I can tell you why I'm saying it. And that's what I just did. Now, here's a first look at your sun real quick. Now, guys, this right here is important right now. Because all that this coronal hole is doing is adding to what we're getting ready to experience anyway. And we're going to get a coronal hole stream, I'm talking hours before this CME gets us. And that's assuming that the models I'm getting ready to show you are 100% correct. If it gets here a little bit faster and this stream gets here at the same time as that CME happens, we will definitely see a bigger hit. Just saying. And so let me show you. Now, right here is current conditions. You're going to look at this and you're going to think, why is everybody getting all worked up about this? Well, because this is what we're experiencing now. Remember, I said that we're going to get this stuff in 2 to 3 days. Usually it's like 3, sometimes 4 from a CME. But this one's getting to us really, really quick. And that means that it's moving fast. So, if we look at this, and we look at it with, NASA said it's the reason we are having these eruptions and flares like this. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if I could go back and see what was said there. I'm sure I agree with you. I'm pretty sure I will, River Rain. I usually do. So yeah, lowercase. Yeah, it was a bigger one, guys, off the side. I do think that we are definitely, yeah. And like I said, guys, let me show you this real quick too, because before I show you anything else, I want you to look at this. This is why I bring this up. 2008, which is the same year, you could compute that to 2019. Because that's the same spot in the solar cycle. It's 11-year different, right? So we had 73% of the days with sunspots not on the sun facing us, which means low activity. 2019 was the same year there, and that was at 77%. So that was even less active, which actually set a space age record, okay, of low activity. But do you see the next year increase? It was only 2%. Well, the next year increase this time in 2020, guys, we're at a 17% increase already. Now, I'm not trying to make a huge deal about that, but I am trying to say that that is not what anybody really expected. But if you compare 2009 to 2010, which would be the same as 2020 to 2021, there was a huge increase in activity. So if we experience that same increase You can go look at all the newest reports right now. They're going to tell you that we are at least 20 to 25% weaker on our magnetic field. So if we're going to be having more activity while our magnetic field is weak, what does that compute to us? That computes to more danger, really, just to be honest. And we can't forget that. That's why we're all out here, on our toes trying to really figure things out before we get a little crazy. That's why if you go over like to Ron's channel, he's going to tell you how to prep. Because some of that stuff, a lot of it, in my opinion, is great stuff to do. I do it too. And Ron can show you how. He'll teach you. I mean, that's just what he does. So, I mean, that's something I can't teach you. I guess I could, but I don't. It's not my, my specialty or anything. So, with that being said, no, we're not in a solar minimum anymore. We're not. You're right, Garrison. And that's what my whole point was. To go back to that real quick, just to clarify, the solar minimum was 2019. We're now on the uptick, going back up into more active area, more active time. So we can expect this to continue. It's going to continue and get even more intense. Okay? So just know that. And we did not get to no grand solar minimum. People were throwing that word around like it was the easiest thing to say in the whole English language. It was ridiculous. It really was. Now, we could get solar minimum this sun cycle or next. Or even after that. Who knows? It's all theory until it happens. That's the God's honest truth. So for somebody to come out and claim that, hey, we're in grand solar minimum and oh my gosh this and oh my gosh that, don't do it. I mean, anybody that's doing that, please don't. Just kind of stop, please. You're doing nothing but hurting the whole community. I really hope that people listen to that. But anyway, so I showed you this. This is pretty much normal conditions, right? ACE data. Well, this is what we can expect here on the Enlil. Now, this hump right here, I've been showing you guys this for 4 or 5 days now. That's the one that had already hit stereo A, and it was from the coronal hole. It was an increase, right? I was showing you an increase in density, and the deal with this one was that the density of it was so high that this is something we really haven't seen in a long time either. You're seeing a black line on here. That ain't what we have been seeing for the past 2 years. This is going to hit us right here. This is the CME right behind it. That wasn't there just a few hours ago. So my point here is, if they're off just by a couple hours, and these things end up hitting at the same time, yeah, it's just going to compound and add more stuff. Now, if you look down here, we haven't seen these really deep, dark red colors on the speed either. Look at the speed. See the pink? This is up at 800. Above, really, at the top end of it. That's fast, guys. That's extremely fast. But that's coming from that CME. And those other particles. So watch this. I'm going to show you guys this up here. I want you guys to watch how close these two events actually are. So right there, Earth is experiencing the density. Look how close that is. The CME right behind it. Boom. Now, at this point right there, you see where those kind of are doing that? Or even maybe a little bit before that. This is what we... I wanted to show you this. First proof of interplanetary shockwave in our system, found by NASA MMS mission. Okay? This is back in August 14, 2019. Prior to this, nobody had ever laid a visual on this. It was theorized that this happened, but they couldn't prove it or hadn't been able to see it. Yes, the awakening, it's still a C-class flare no matter what we do. That is the flare class that came off of it. The flare of it is here and gone, guys. That's X-ray. It's already gone. That part of it is gone. What's behind it is the CME. That's when we're going to start talking about some of the mess, you know? But anyway, what this article is going to show you is that when the CME catches up with the solar flare, or with the solar wind increase that we're just talking about, when those magnetic fields from the atoms interact with each other, they will sometimes cause what they call a shockwave, an interplanetary shockwave. It's basically a little boost in the energy. It's a shockwave. I mean, I think most of us understand what that is. So with that being said, here's a visual that they actually were able to catch it. What you're seeing, here's already existing energy, right? Watch how this thing comes in this way, right there. Okay? It runs into it. And if you look, watch this over here. Watch the red pop up. Boom. You see that? That's the shockwave part of it that got kind of boosted. You can see it happen. So why am I even talking about this at this length? Because we haven't been able to really put eyes on these kinds of things very often. And for this to happen, that it's a possibility, and it's actually a higher possibility than normal, that this is going to happen right at the time at our planet. So that's one of those things that I really wanted to bring to you guys and let you guys really see this, because this is important. Now what I want to do is I'm going to put this link, obviously, here. I'm going to put it in the chat real quick. This is the link to this article. I would encourage all you guys to go over here and read this and really get a good grasp on what I'm talking about here, because this actually happens quite often and we just didn't know it. So, go back over here. Did somebody ask for Ron's? Here, I'll do it real quick. This is his channel, guys. Oops. That's Ron's channel, Emergency Management Associates. Okay? So go over and check him out. Show him some love. And, you won't regret it. You guys know I don't send you guys to people that I don't think you're going to stay. Alright, so we got this happening, right? Well, all the wind, the increase and everything, I'm telling you guys, this is something we're going to have to pay attention to. Now, let me go back to that for a second. I forgot to say something here. Right now, as we speak, we are about probably, let me see here, it'd be about, 1-2 days. We're probably kind of like right here. Oops. In time. So what kind of time does that leave us? A little over a day before the high dense particles get here, and then shortly thereafter, tomorrow on the 9th, we're going to see that CME arrive. Okay, and that's assuming that this model's correct in the data it's receiving, which is definitely something that we don't know yet. So we're looking between, anywhere from late in the day on the 9th, or about midday on the 9th to the 10th. Okay, that's the time frame I'm going to kind of give this. Now, it could, I can't be exact because nobody really can. Just a slight change in wind speed will change all of that. Now, what I'm going to show you right here is the actual flare part of it. This is going to show you what happens when a flare hits our ionosphere. Okay, you see what's going on here. Let me go here. And then, boom. You see that? You know what this is? This is proton flux increase. This is radiation. So, if we take this back, this was the butt end of the initial flare from this big event coming, right? So what we see when we see that this here at the end, that is a proton flux increase, which is radiation. You will see that right here. You see how it's starting to come off of being on the straight line? That may or may not increase. I look for it to increase a little bit. Not a whole lot, but it should increase some. You see how it's starting to trend upward here? Now, it's not in the storm level or nothing, so it's really nothing to really be too concerned about. We'll watch it and see what happens. Auroras. When this CME gets here, guys, we'll probably see some pretty decent aurora. I do. I look for us. At this point, I really think that, I mean, I don't see us getting anything. We have to at least get into storm level, guys. I mean, I just don't know what else to say here. Usually I'm real timid about saying those kinds of things, but when we see stuff like that, hey, IG, how you doing, girl? Angelo, boogie down the Bronx, baby. But yeah, so I hate coming out here talking like that. I hate it. But I think it's correct this time, guys. I really do. I think that this is one of those few times where we need to be saying, hey guys, we're going to see something. Can I tell you how powerful? No. I'll give you my opinion. I really think this is going to be at least a G2 level storm. I really do. It could be more. Other countries reporting an M4. River rain, I bet you I know what they're talking about there. The flare we got last week was an M4. It was an M4.4. Now, I'm not going to say it's exactly what they were saying, if that's what they're referring to, but I would guess. That's what it came in as at when we got that one. So, yeah, I mean, again, guys, let me say this real quick. I'll take you back here real quick so you guys understand what I'm saying. This is showing a high C class. Alright, if it gets to an M4, it's going to be about right here, which is, yeah, it's a significant difference. But, like I said a minute ago, the energy we're getting from this is here and gone in 8 minutes, just from the X-ray flux. The solar flare part of it has already hit. It's already gone. So what the residual of this from the flare end of it is the proton flux. Okay, that's the radiation. It takes it a little bit longer to get here. But then even after that, the CME that came with it also would be affecting this chart. And it won't be here for, 2 days basically. 2 to 3. So, without being able to see exactly who, what they were reporting in other countries, if that's exactly what they were talking about, that could have been, Yeah, River Rain, they did, I think. I think you're right there. I think they did mention it earlier on in my stream. So, yeah, thanks, Ron, for putting that in there, man. Cool. Yeah, guys, it's just something that we're going to have to understand to look at. We're not going to be able to tell you exactly what's going to happen. I mean, and I've been trying to preach against that anyway, because nobody knows exactly. Now, there is a predictive aspect here on Space Weather Prediction Center. Even other channel creators may not know this is part of it. If you click on this arrow right here, it'll give you a prediction for the next day. And then you could even go out another day. Okay? I think that this is wrong. I'm just saying. I think we're going to get into storm level. If we don't, that's a great thing. If I'm wrong there, I hope I am. And I really mean that. So, I mean, that's really truly what I think. Yep, you're right there. Yep, for sure. Guys, that's another thing. Terry, Terry kind of struck my brain there a little bit. That not only we get auroras on the South Pole too, guys, but there's also something else that we've been talking about too here on my channel, and that is this. I wonder if it's still there. Nope. You guys see this right here? The near-Earth objects? They missed another one today. What's today? Today's the 7th, right? They added another object they missed. It passed us 4 days ago. It amazes me, man. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said before, like Billy Bob Thornton said it in the movie Armageddon, it's a big-ass sky. You know what I mean? Because it is. We would be very naive to think that we could see everything that was coming. We would also be very naive to sit here and think that we were going to be told everything that's going on, especially if it's really bad. If they know something really bad is coming, we're never going to know it. Don't fool yourselves, because we're not. They're not going to tell anybody. Especially if it's really, 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 really bad. What benefit would that be? And that's why people like Ron and myself and Terry and everybody else, listen guys, prep up a little bit. Got to. And this is what I tell people, and not everybody has to agree with this, but I say prep up to the point that you feel comfortable where you're at, and then go one step further. That's how I do it. Now, nobody has to, that's just my opinion. Okay? Really, if you get down to it, if you are really concerned about what's going on with all this, and, if we're talking about SHTF, crap hitting the fan, right? That bug out type of stuff, you really should have like 6 months of food. And, and supplies. That's really what you should have if you're really that concerned about that big event. So, that's what, that's kind of standard across the board, and that's what a lot of people talk about. And I know that sounds very excessive to a lot of people. So that's why I always say, you do what you need to do to make yourself feel comfortable. And for you, okay? Because nobody, at the end of the day, nobody can really tell you that you're, oh my gosh, man, you're da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You do what you think you need to do. I tell this to people all the time. Trust yourself. Trust your own instincts. If you're hearing this in the back of your head, I really should be prepping up some. If you're hearing that, maybe you should do it. Just saying. And I know it's not the easiest thing, guys. It's not. A lot of people don't do it because they're afraid they're going to get made fun of. Don't be afraid of that. What's more important? A little bit of ridicule or your family's safety? You see what I'm getting at, guys? I mean, it makes no sense to me why people, and I would think anybody that preps or tells people to prep or shows them how to prep, they would agree with what I'm getting ready to say. And that, man, I don't even want to say it, but yeah, man, I'll come back to that. I don't like saying it because it's a rough thing to hear. So, but if it's the truth, I will say it. Just give me a few minutes. We'll come back to that. I want to show you guys this full halo, though. See this? This is the data I was waiting on it to come in. This was not there a few minutes ago. Remember, I showed you guys the red version, and I was showing you guys what the halo actually meant. So let me push play on this. Watch what happens. See that? Now, I know most of you guys are probably sitting there thinking, man, that's not that big of a deal. It doesn't look as powerful as even the little one early on over here. Well, the reason is because this thing's coming right at us. The majority of that energy is directly behind this occulter. We cannot see it from this view. That's important to know. And no, this thing isn't hanging in space like a lot of people thought it was. Actually, this is not even the surface of the sun. This white circle is representing that. This is covering up the corona so the camera itself doesn't get overexposed. Okay? So know that. This is, but so when I show you this, that right there, that becomes a little bit more impressive when you know how it actually flew off the sun. Now you can see the violent explosion. You can see that there. This is more of like a stream of something coming off the sun, kind of nonchalantly right here, right? And then you get the big one right here. Boom. You see how much faster that was moving. So let me take you to stereo A. This is our side view. And this really gives you it's like that. Boom, that's our side view. Okay? Yeah. Where will it hit? What are you guys talking about? Where will the CME hit? Something hit it. Let me know what you're talking about there too, Robert. I'm not sure what you're saying. Something hit anything. Hey, Wolf. So, anyway, this is all, this is here. Earth is over here. What time did this happen? I'm not sure here. Dream Warrior, what'd I wake up to? I've been talking about this for years too. I don't know. I guess. I don't know. Anyway, the satellite's here, but it's going off here, right? Which part of the Earth is sun facing on arrival of CME? That I don't know. What I can tell you, well, let's do this. We can kind of get a decent idea. Give me 1 second here. If you guys want to look at, well, let's go to the CME tracker, if I can pull that up real quick. I don't think I have it up, though. I don't. Let's just use the Enlil map, the Enlil graph. So if we take this, and this right here is the CME when it hits us. So that will be roughly right around midnight on the 10th. That's UTC. So what you gotta do is you gotta subtract about 4.5 to 5 hours if you're on the East Coast. So that would be about, yeah, right around 7:30, 8 o'clock Eastern time in the evening. So that's about the time we're looking at there. So this isn't going to hit the United States dead on right as that comes in. But remember, guys, this is a prediction. This is not a set in stone time frame either. So as of right now, this would actually be the main brunt would be the part of the Earth that will be facing the sun is actually on the other side. Probably around, I would say around Africa. Africa up that kind of longitude line. But remember, when this does hit, that energy will wrap around. And it will come in all parts. And it's not just, when we're talking about CME stuff, it's actually a more continuous hit too. It's not just one little blast like a X-ray. So that definitely will come in. That'll come in on the poles. That'll come in on any crack we have in our magnetic fields. The South Atlantic anomaly, well, unfortunately, if this is true, this will happen very, very close to the South Atlantic anomaly facing the sun. I don't think it will, Natsu, Mats2, the Brawny Slayer. Guys, I can't say anything like that for sure. There's nothing I don't think it's going to. Nothing like that. I don't think it's that bad. Okay? I do think this is very, very, You're welcome, Terry. I do really think that this is something very, very big. Okay? But I also don't want to say that it's that size. We simply just can't tell. Now, if we're going to judge by the flare strength itself, it was only a high C right here. If we're going to talk like Carrington event stuff, guys, we're talking off the chart X flare type of stuff. Okay, the Carrington event came in at an X28. Okay, so that should tell you that was yeah, this is powerful, but it's not. I don't think it's Carrington event powerful, guys. I would have to say that. Let me go here, because I have this. I showed this earlier on today, in my last stream. This is the geomagnetic storm levels and what we can expect, right? Yeah, Dan T, it was an X28. The Carrington event was. Yeah, guys, I mean, and the thing is, we're saying it's an X28, but they didn't have the technology that we have now. It actually could have been bigger. So, it's a G2. If I had to guess, guys, this thing's going to come in somewhere between a G2 and a G3. That's just my guess. And then that's simply at that. So please don't take that as anything permanent in stone type of thing. Okay? But what can we expect G3 time? You know, power systems may experience voltage alarms. There's a lot of other things that can happen during these storms too. But the biggest issues you're going to see is where our magnetic field is weaker and has cracks. This will actually probably cause some cracks in our magnetic field anyway, if it's that big and that powerful. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. I don't think we're going to get much bigger than this. The only thing that kind of pushes me, well, you just hit it, Rebel. That kind of pushes me thinking this might be a little stronger than what we would have experienced with just the CME itself is this. Okay, this is not the CME. This is a solar wind stream that already had high dense particles coming at us. So if these things happen to hit at the exact same time, it will definitely make things a little bit more powerful and a little bit more dangerous for what we're doing. So, yeah, exactly right, Hummingbird. I mean, we're not all going to die here, guys. It's not what anybody's saying. Yeah, the ozone layer's damaged. That's definitely something too. I mean, but it really is not showing anything here. In my opinion, I believe that there is a lot of spiritism concerning this particular CME. You know, I don't have really much of an opinion on that, Ryan. I tend to kind of think that if something spiritual is going on, if it's going to be a big event like that, I don't know that we're going to have any kind of warning. Just so you know. You know, a few might, but I don't think if any kind of text and stuff that you read, if you want to bring the spiritual conversation into it, a lot of it is done, you know, well, the Bible even calls it like a thief in the night. So what's that mean? That means nobody's going to see it coming. And I do think that for bigger events, and yes, there are people out there who are probably going to be screaming this from the rooftops when it's getting ready to happen anyway. But yeah. Well, you know, Robert, see, now people are asking me, I guess I can address this. You say, you know, it matters not about death, but how the kind of life we lead. Yes, it does. You're right, but let me say this. If that's all that mattered, why would God even give us a brain? sometimes the very blessing he's giving us is the brain he put in our head. So people say we should lean completely on that. Well, maybe we are leaning on that and using the gift that God already gave us, and that's the brain in our head. We still have to have the faith, but we can't just automatically say, give it all to God and don't look at nothing else. That's just my opinion. Because I do think that sometimes the answer is right there in your own head. A lot of times. My opinion, though, you know. And again, I respect everybody else's opinion on that, too. I mean, that's why we're all different, you know. I'm not going to, you know. Yeah, so that's just kind of how I look at it. Yeah, you did, didn't you, Virgo? Ricky's in here now. What's up, Ricky? So, yeah, as far as, I must have got off topic there. I'm sorry, guys. I do that a lot. I like communicating with you guys. I do. But I want you guys to understand that, you know, first off, you're not hearing me out here screaming in the world, any of that stuff. Because I don't think it is. Because if it ever comes to that time that I do think that that's going to happen, I want to be able to come out here and say that with all confidence that you guys are going to take me serious. So if I come out here every time saying it's the end of the world, well, the one time that it is, you're not going to believe me, or you're going to think I'm a bunch of BS and not even pay attention. So that's why the fear-mongering, that's why the over-exaggerations, that's why all that stuff is bad. That's why the date setting is bad. Because what happens, guys, really, seriously, what happens when somebody sets a date and it doesn't ever happen on the date? For me, when somebody does that and it doesn't happen, you know, I can kind of like ignore it the first time, but then they come out and do it again and again and again and again, and eventually they have no credibility. So don't set dates. There's no reason for it. If you want to be ready for something, you know, a lot of people get this too, you know, and I don't want to go down the spiritual religious aspect here on my channel because that's not really what I do. But because people were asking me, I'll let you know my opinion on this. That people say, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Well, I look at it different. I stay ready. And then I don't have to worry about a particular date. You see what I'm getting at? Now, if I had to put it into biblical terms, you know how I would say this? It's just like the women with the oil lamps. You want your lamp to be full of oil all the time. You don't want to come, you know, for the bridegroom to come and your oil lamp be empty. And asking, can I get it filled up? Because it's not going to happen. So instead of getting ready, stay ready. So that's kind of what I'm talking about there, guys. You know, hey, Jarrett. And again, guys, I don't typically, you know, talk about that kind of thing here. But because people ask, I'll give my opinion. And I do. That's really how I live my life. You know, you don't have to worry about all those dates if you just stay ready. You just don't have to. Guys, let me tell you something. The biggest stress relief I got in like one big shabam, weight lifted type of stuff, is the very second I looked around and I thought to myself, well, if it happens today, okay, it's all right with me. It is what it is. I'm ready to go, right? And if you get yourself to that point, you keep yourself there. That way there is absolutely nothing to be stressing out about any of that. You know, I just don't see anything positive. If there was some benefit to setting a date, I would be the first one out here telling you. Now, do I think we should just like ignore seasons and stuff like that? Absolutely not. Because anything that you read is going to tell you we can know the season. But we're not going to know the day, the time, or the hour. We're just not. It's just it's not going to happen. And I'm not even talking about like the biblical, you know, the rapture type of conversation that happens. I'm talking about any kind of big event in general. Because that goes across the board. It ain't just about that one particular event. It's about everything. So, and you have to keep this in mind too, that anything that we're looking at and seeing, if you are a biblical person, or if you believe in any of that, just know that anything that our enemy does to us is going to look beautiful. It's not going to look ugly. That's part of the deception. And so often we forget that. So the really bad thing that's going to happen at any point in time is going to look like one of the most beautiful things on the surface. And it's up to us, like people like me, Ron, Terry, Scott over at Planet X News. It's up to all of us to sift through that stuff and bring that to you guys in a specific way. And each one of us have our own little niche. And I'm glad it's like that. Because we're getting to some things. You know? And it's just what we got to do. And I know that this isn't really what I typically talk about here. So I apologize to those that are here for just the space weather stuff. I will be in the morning just giving a straight space weather half hour. Bam. You know, here's the conditions. This is what's going on. And I'll move on. Right? And I'll do some more. I'll do a live stream again tomorrow too after that. But just know that that's going to be there for those that don't have the time to sit through a live stream. Other planets in the path of flare. You know, that's a good question. Let's look at that. You want to look at that? We can look at that. So this is our inner solar system. Well, Mars is over here, so it looks like Mars is going to catch a blow from it. But we got Venus and Mercury over here on the other side, so those two won't have any effect on those. I appreciate that, Patriot. I really do. You know, I don't know. Appreciate that, George. I really do. I honestly do. So, as far as any other planets here, you know, outside of Mars, I can't say anything here on the CME tracker. But also know that if this is going to get out past Mars, it's also going to have to go through the asteroid belt and all that other kind of thing. And also, with like, if it's going to be anywhere near like Jupiter, that Jupiter has such an intense electric field that this wouldn't even, this probably wouldn't even be nothing to it. But there's a chance something hit the sun to cause, no. I would disagree with that, Robert. And let me tell you why. And I know probably where that stuff's coming from, and I've already addressed that. I tried to show you guys yesterday, you know, because there was a big claim made about something, a bomb hitting the sun. I just don't think that that's what happened then, and I don't think that that's what's happening now. And there's a couple reasons. Now that we have two of them, I can show you, the one from the side and this one, they both come from a sunspot. Both of them. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Now, do I think that sometimes the objects we talk about hanging around the sun, those kinds of things can interact with this and cause this stuff? Absolutely. That's my opinion. Right? So, you know, it is what it is. Yes, exactly, Ron. Solar flares and CMEs can cause earthquakes. Yes, yes, yes. 100%. You know, and there's more and more papers that are coming out every day. Well, not, I wouldn't say every day. There's more and more studies coming out now that kind of back that up. Now, you're not going to hear mainstream say that 100% yet. But, yeah. They eventually will, in my opinion. Now, are they ever going to be able to use that as any kind of prediction? Well, if they're really going to truly dig into that, then yeah, I think that sometimes they probably could. It could really be a helpful prediction tool. It already is. Yeah, you're right. Mainstream will deny it. Yeah, the main ones we're concerned with are the ones that are Earth facing. Exactly right, Becca. Exactly right. And that's you know, and the question earlier, was that going to be Earth facing? Was that which side of the Earth was going to be facing the sun when this hit? That's a great question, because most certainly where it does hit our Earth, wherever it hits, the initial blast of it, wherever it's at, is going to take a harder hit than where we're at, than where everybody else is. Now, like I said, that energy does hang around, and a hit from a CME is not just like a 30-second thing. It's hours most of the time, because it's charged particles which have mass, which means that they do not travel at the speed of light. Plus, their electromagnetic fields with them, with each particle, and they're going to interact with us. Some of them are going to get drawn in, some of them are going to get deflected away. What determines that? Well, let me show you that. I got something I can show you there to kind of give us an idea. The BZ. You see this red line right here? If that's in the negative when the CME hits, that means that that's conducive for that to draw it right into our system. If it's in the positive, it's got the wrong kind of angle to really have it come in real good. So, and also the phi angle, that's a polarity thing of the phi angle is the polarity of the solar wind itself. And it flips. It goes negative, positive. Okay? It does that. And whenever it does that, usually we'll get a pretty decent tug on our magnetosphere. We'll take a little bit of a geomagnetic jolt, I guess, if you want to say it like that. Now, I do have something I could use to show you guys what I think. You know, it's a really simple illustration, but it's also, I think it's so simple that it's easy to understand. And I made this little graphic myself because I wanted people to understand, you know, how the solar wind got here, how it gets here. So this right here, and this is really simple stuff. Okay, I kept it as basic as I could. We're connected to the sun, okay, by an interplanetary magnetic field line. That's what they call them, IMF lines. All right, so that's that white line right here. If we have a coronal hole, or if we have anything that's coming our direction from the sun like that, right? Those charged particles that are leaving, notice I said charged. They have a charge. They have a polarity. They stay on that magnetic line. That's how they travel here. It's not like wind blowing through your hair. It's charged particles following a magnetic connection between us and the sun. So the more dense they are, the closer to the center they are. The less dense they are, the further out from center they spiral down this line, right? So also, the less dense they are, typically they will be faster. That's just something we see. So this is exactly how the solar wind gets here. It's very simple, but that's a very basic way for people to understand this. And it, you know, having this little basic understanding of what I just said, how the solar wind gets here, now that you know this, doesn't it make it a lot easier to understand this and what we were seeing here on this data? Because I told you that, you know, that diagram was showing you solar wind, and just before that, I said the phi angle was the solar wind's polarity. So it gives you a better understanding. So I really, you're not simple-minded. Ain't nobody got no simple mind, guys. Okay? I get what you're saying there, George. Thank you. But nobody's simple-minded. You guys are smart. I'm telling you. People, guys, listen. This is not as hard to understand as what we make it. That's why you're not hearing a bunch of big vocabulary word salad coming out of my mouth. Because at the end of the day, I can understand every bit of all that word salad. But what good does that word salad do if I'm spewing all that stuff and nobody understands what I'm saying? People do that in an attempt to look more intelligent. But what you achieve there is making somebody feel less educated or just stupid, I guess. If that's your goal, then you need to figure out a different goal. I'm just saying. Now, don't get me wrong. If you know, say it was a group of scientists got together amongst themselves, by all means use all them big words because they all understand it. But if I'm sitting here talking about this with my 13-year-old daughter, my 26-year-old boy, and my 21-year-old boy, 25-year-old boy and 21-year-old boy, how am I going to talk? I'm going to talk like I'm talking to you guys right now. I'm just not going to blast out all that word salad. It does absolutely no good. Just saying. It doesn't do good for anybody. It just really doesn't. So yeah. So, let's get to this real quick. Now, I'm going to do this real quick too. Sorry, guys. You guys know that this man here is my brother. All right? He's my family. And you guys got to understand that everything I just told you guys was negative, right? I hate doing that. I do. So I try to balance that out with something positive. And this man here has given that to me. And it's given it to you guys because I'm able to share it with you guys. And a lot of you guys already come over here, right? So what I want you guys to do, I would really love for you guys to come over here and hang out with me for a minute. He plays music. He does face swaps. Check him out. You know, I'm not sure how much longer he'll be on tonight. I think he's going to stick around for, you know, a few hours. He typically does. So here is his... the link to his current live stream, okay? This right here, let me show you this real quick. I forgot to do this. I should have done it at the beginning. But this is the link to my PayPal. If you guys want to help me out, you can. If not, I get it. Nothing's ever expected, but it's always appreciated, okay? That's what I say because that's really how I feel. You know, none of that's expected, ever. So if it puts you in a bind, please do not do any of that, okay? Please. I mean, I really, truly, that's how I feel, guys. I don't want you guys doing any of that. So I'm going to go over here and hang out with Mark. And I would love for you guys to come over here because you're going to laugh. You're going to have fun. And I'll come back on, guys. Listen. Crying wolf again? No. No, sir. All's good. So what we're going to do, we're going to go over here and hang out and have a good time with each other. We're going to be positive. And, yeah. So I hope you guys follow me over here. God bless. Yahusha saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.